What's happening, everybody? Tuesday night here on Divots and Pivots, brought to you as always. We're here on That Sports Podcast Network and audio versions on Golfer Gang Network. Shout out to them as always for all the support they give the show and have always given the show. And also brought to you by acornhills.com, acornhillsco.com, I should say. Use discount code DIVPIV, DIVPIV 15 for 15% off your next order. And join the Founders Club. We can talk about more of the Founders Club later. I'll say that at the end of the show because Keith looks like he's rip-roaring ready to go here. Keith, how are you this evening? Welcome in for another beautiful Tuesday.
I'm doing okay. It's been one of those weeks. I have had a little bit of a stomach bug. So if you're wondering why I'm standing up, still trying to get comfortable. I am definitely on the mend. And I don't want to go total diva on you, but if I'm going to be a co-host, I'm going to need to. You get all that cool stuff in the intro. I need to at least see my face somewhere.
Oh, you will. We gotta definitely get that in there. It's going to happen.
Just messing with you, man.
No, but you are not wrong. You are not wrong. So we do have to make that work. So you'll be on the lookout, everyone, for a new intro coming soon. We'll get that working for you. Let's get into some of the news, though, coming out of this past week. So we had the AT&T Pebble Beach, but even before we get to that, we had another tournament finish up before that, all the way out in Australia. Yes, I am going to actually talk positively about the Live Adelaide tournament, because if there is one tournament they have gotten right on that tour, the Adelaide one, you can't take that from them. They love it out there in Australia, so whatever, enjoy it. But the bigger story, Anthony Kim, he gets a win again, finally. And yes, I'm not a fan of Live. You all know that. Whatever, fan or not, the comeback story of Anthony Kim, how can you not cheer for that? He shot up, I think, 600 points in the world rankings just based off of that win alone, and now that Liv's getting points. So huge for him. Were you watching that at all? I mean, I wasn't watching it myself. I saw the notifications when it happened, and then I tuned into reading up on it. But did you were you paying attention? Did you even know he was up to win coming in the morning?
I mean, I follow Live, not gonna lie, rarely ever do I watch events, but in fairness to me, I don't ever know what channel it's on either. But yeah, more than anything, I was shocked because I saw what happened with John Rahm on the third round on the 18th hole. It was all over, Twitter/X, and just Bryson DeChambeau, man. I am such a big Bryson fan.
I know
a lot of people hate him. I think he's awesome. His face when he realized where Rahm got to drop his tee shot was just like, what? And it just made my day. But it was funny. There was so much being talked about DeChambeau and Rahm, and this is what Live Golf's all about. And don't get me wrong, you're gonna put Rahm and DeChambeau going, toe to toe anywhere, I'll watch.
Yeah, they rightfully really hyped that up leading into it.
And then, but wait, Anthony Kim wins, and I wish he would be more honest about what his insurance, what was he paid to not play golf for all that time, because that's the only thing that prevents me from being all in on this comeback. Is it does feel a little bit like he just took the money and ran. And I'm not saying that he was not injured. Obviously he was. Anybody who plays golf at, any kind of level knows they love the game. So they want to be out there. Don't get me wrong, but it's the one piece of the puzzle that I haven't heard. I don't know if you have, but I just know that he could not play because of an insurance policy he had taken out when he was very young. He got injured, and I'm assuming Liv ended up not only, paying or matching that insurance number, but probably exceeding it. I'm very happy for him, but I just wish he would be more honest about what that's all been about, just more about what it felt like to be one of the best golfers in the world and kind of have it all taken away and doing something that I think a lot of people would do in that situation, right? Like if you're guaranteed, I don't know, 50 million, whatever it is. But the deal is you cannot play professional golf because you're injured, right? Like, you can't go at it full Borg anymore and make a living, I probably would do the same thing. That fascinates me. And I feel like he has not done a good enough job, and neither has the Live Tour, of explaining what the hell happened for 2 decades. Because for people who are young and not old like me and you, he was that dude, man. Like Anthony Kim was the guy. He was definitely one of the top 5 golfers in the world. The closest thing to Tiger, and what I mean in that sense is not his abilities, but just he had it
around him. Yeah, people knew what he was capable of, and they were excited for it.
Yeah, he had the charisma, I guess would be. There were so many golfers back in the day were robots, and like Tiger, it was like, whoa, who is this guy?
Yep.
And I'm very happy for him, though. I hope that he gets to play in some majors. And I'll go ahead and say that I took some jabs. I didn't put anything like that on social media or whatever, but when he was shooting like 80s and stuff, we were laughing in text groups and stuff. And yeah, Keith, how many tournaments have you won on any professional tour? That's 0.
But as the professionals on the radio,
seriously, man, it's awesome.
As the professionals on the radio say, we have a show to do today.
That's right.
So we talk about what's relevant, and there was times where that was relevant. But no, obviously, you wish for the best for him. I think there was more than even just I don't remember all the story, but I do remember there being more to why he was gone than just the insurance policy as well. I think there was a lot of stuff going on there, and I feel like there was like a very mini documentary or interview that he gave about it, but he went in some depth about it. I'd have to dig that back up though, honestly. But yeah, if we could see Anthony Kim, I think Anthony Kim would be welcomed back if he got an invite to one of the majors. I think the fan base would welcome him back, because like you said, our generation, we remember him, and hell, I think he was even in one of the Tiger Woods games.
He was. I think he was in a couple actually.
Yeah, I know he was close with Tiger, and I know there's that famous video of Tiger calling him, and so yeah, it's exciting stuff there. Someone else who the fans just can't get enough of, and he is starting to do his own thing here, is Scotty Scheffler, just being inevitable. Goes out. I jokingly texted you on Thursday. It was like, oh, he went out and did another bad round. Like, is he going to be able to do it again? And then lo and behold, he ends his round on Sunday tied for the lead. And then only loses by, I think it was 1 or 2 strokes. I forget what the final, I think it was 2, but either way, with the way he played on Thursday, Scotty Scheffler, even in a small event like this, a smaller field event like AT&T was, probably would have been counted out by just about everybody. And he comes back and just shoots. His front 9 on Sunday was unreal. The guy is just unstoppable.
First round with 3 eagles in a round, which pretty impressive, obviously. As the biggest Tiger Woods mark in the world, I immediately had flashbacks as he was making his charge of Tiger's huge come from behind victory. His was actually on a Monday, which I'll never forget. I was actually working in the golf business at that time while going to school, and we had the tournament on, and that's when Tiger famously, I think it was the 14th, he holed out with a wedge and ended up erasing a 7-shot lead throughout the 2-day Sunday, which went into Monday to come back and win the AT&T. And I got to admit, it did feel like when he eagled 18, okay. I have 2 things, though, about this that, it's not all, what is it, ifs and buts and candies and nuts. But the first is, this better not turn into a Rory situation where we consistently see him start off slow.
Yeah.
And then what I call the backdoor top 5s, which Rory, no disrespect to big Rory fans, but he is the king of the backdoor top 5, where it's like, if you just would have had a good first round, God, how many more majors would he have at this point? Like a lot. I mean, he has dusted the field in the 3 rounds after that. And a lot of times it feels like it's right. And a lot of times it feels like it's after the event is over, right, is when he really makes his charge. And that's kind of the way it felt the last 2 rounds. Again, Scheffler, to his credit, by eagling 18, felt like maybe, even there were so many holes left, and the wind was really picking up.
Yeah.
The other thing that I got to admit, though, that you brought this up last week, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, because I was starting to think that as well, This does prove, though, none of those guys are really scared of Scotty, because that would have been the ultimate time to see all those names in front of him pull like an 86 Masters deal with Jack, where, yes, Jack had that amazing round, but what is not really talked about anymore is 4 or 5 of the best players in the world, including Greg Norman, just absolutely threw up all over themselves because Jack Nicklaus came charging back, right? And it did feel like Scheffler was reaching that point. I agreed with you last week, but we're
not there yet.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, it's just period. Like, and kudos to Morikawa. And there was a lot of guys that, like, down the stretch, they didn't buckle just because Scotty played a phenomenal round. And I don't know what's up with his game, though, because he's normally so consistent, and he seems to be making a lot of, like, just bad bogeys and stuff. Like Sunday, I'll give him the wind and stuff was crazy. A lot of the guys were hitting shots. You were just like, what the hell? And you remember they're playing like 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Exactly.
But the Thursday round, both for the last 2 weeks, he doesn't even look like the guy that he then is for the next 3 rounds at all. And I don't know what is going on, because it's not even like one facet of his game. It's just not very sharp.
Yeah, just everything. Yeah, I don't know if it's a preparation thing. As he changed his routine, he's trying to get used to a new routine, and it just hasn't clicked yet. Who knows? Only he knows, but I doubt he's going to be telling us about it. It's just not who Scotty is. So, it is still fun to watch him climb. So it's exciting to watch him charge the leaderboard, and like
he cares. Like, you can see it. That's my big thing, is like, he was so jacked when he stuffed it on 18, which, by the way, that's 2 of the greatest shots you'll ever see.
Oh, it's amazing
in that situation. Like, that drive was a laser, and then what, he hit like a freaking wedge into it. I mean, because that was just dead downwind. Yeah, and that's where I love the ball tracking, because you could see how low, he flighted that shot, and it still was just like a freaking rocket.
I know it was 100% fun to watch, and we'll get to this week, but obviously he's back in the field this week again for another signature event. So we'll see if there's a pattern for him. Like you said, I hope we don't, because then eventually what we saw, that was like with Rory. When we started seeing that, then that was kind of the start to his little bubble there, where he wasn't really playing all that good. Like, are we gonna see a little valley here for Scotty that this is gonna lead into? We'll see. We'll see how he handles this adversity.
Winning is really hard.
Winning is very hard, and he did it way too many times last year.
I keep reminding people, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna have this many," and I'm like, Tiger Woods. By the time he was Scheffler's age, I think already had 9 majors and like 45 wins. Okay,
yeah, it was unreal.
And I mean, if you think about it, he had 70 something. By the time basically the Thanksgiving fiasco happened and stuff, that was 2009. So he would have been like 32 years old.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's still the GOAT in my opinion, but you never know when it's going to end, because I think everybody's kind of like Mike Tyson, that like once you get knocked out, it's hard. Like, you kind of feel invincible, and then all of a sudden you realize that you're not.
Yep. And you start to think about things differently, and it's changed in a game like golf. Man. In a game like golf, it changes it for you. Someone that things did change for, though, Collin Morikawa, like you mentioned before, coming in with the win. Let's be honest, Collin Morikawa had a rough year last year, not just on the golf course with his performance, but specifically last year, I feel like he had a tough PR year last year. On this show,
I don't like an entitled brat.
Yeah, we were not fans of Collin Morikawa on this show. I'd still am curious to see how this year goes for him, but I will say this was a step in the right direction to get to start his hero era, not because of the win, but because how humble, gracious, and just like
he didn't mind taking questions from the media after the round, which was my big complaint about when he made that speech. I go, so let me get this straight. Yeah. So if that's your attitude when you win a tournament, I don't want to see you up there smiling, thanking people, because you don't need the media, right? Like, that's not part of your job. It was, oh God, I couldn't.
Yeah,
that was one of the dumbest things. And then to double down on it was just, I don't know who was his PR person, but they should have been fired.
Well, and maybe they have been. We'll see. We'll see what we get out of Collin going forward here now. But this is a start in the right direction for Collin.
Do you know it had been almost 3 years? Like, I did not realize it had been that long.
I actually did, because Yeah, because when we were getting into him and really ripping him apart last year on the show, I was looking and said, because one of my points
Not
was,
like
why do you think you can act like this when you ain't done crap? So, but he's quietly got off to a great start. Win aside from a stats standpoint, he's been a very consistent kind of guy at most of the strokes gained stats that we look at for DFS value and all that. Like
still one of the
he's
best
been
ball
up there.
strikers on the planet. Like if he can
He
putt,
is.
like he's another one of those guys that when his putter is on, good
Yeah.
luck. Because he
Right,
will
and
ball strike you to death.
yes, and that is still definitely the weak spot of his game. And right now, I think actually he might have even still barely lost strokes last week on the green and still won because his
I know
ball
for the
striking was
season it's
outrageous.
rough. He's like 140th or something in
Yeah.
strokes gained putting. I think he's in the hundreds in strokes gained
I'm
around
pretty
the green.
I'm pretty sure
but
he
the
was.
tee to green, ball striking, approach.
Yeah.
It's like all top 10 basically.
I'm pretty sure this past week he won with still a slight negative strokes gained putting, because I believe I heard a stat where it was 2 weeks in a row now, because Chris Gotterup also did it at the Waste Management, where the winner has actually lost strokes putting. So something to keep an eye on going forward too. So we'll see. But Colin Morikawa, yeah, he's someone that we both definitely missed last week. Neither one of us.
I did have him in my cheat sheet. I will admit.
Okay.
He was horses
I didn't remember if you
horses
had mentioned him on the show.
I didn't mention him on the show.
Okay.
But that's why you got to go read, my
That's fair.
articles and cheat sheets. But it was just from his track record at that venue. He had an unbelievable track record.
Well, then we'll say
and that's why I do that, right? Like it is. I always believe it's important. That's why in my categories I have like my core guys for DFS, horses for courses, and then like the cheat plays, the bargain plays, or whatever. And if somebody has a record like he did, which I believe he had 4 top 6 finishes in like the last 7 times he had played there, that's at least worth mentioning or knowing. Now, did I use him in any of my DFS lineups? Hell no. But,
yeah, exactly, because you still couldn't trust the eye test.
Yep. Damn right.
And I get that, but so Colin Morikawa, we'll give him a half miss since you ended up having him in your article. But some other guys that I just don't remember us even talking about last week. Minwoo Lee, Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau, all
Lee I did
ended
mention
up
last week, but the rest of
those
those
I couldn't remember you mentioning him, so we'll give him a half too. I know I didn't have him anywhere in my stuff. But those are guys that ended up finishing top 10, top 20, and played pretty consistently all week too. Minwoo Lee, I will say, came up almost. Didn't even see him coming up the leaderboard at all, and then all of a sudden Sunday he's right there. I was like, wait a minute, where did he come from? Was I just
he actually did a Scotty where, if I remember correctly, he didn't have a very good first round.
Yeah,
and then really turned it on, and he's another guy that's just fascinating to me. All the talent in the world. I know. Call me stupid. I didn't know that his sister is she's LPGA star.
She's a lot better than him. So I mean, she definitely has more accolades than he does.
He's Reggie Miller of golf.
Yeah, she's quite fascinating.
He's a really good, golfer. But how fun would it be for your sister to be the better, person at that sport?
Right. Well, they talked about on the I think it was the last Full Swing. He was on there, and they talked about him, and they interviewed us. Like they did a whole part about the two of them together. So I would say we missed them, and then guys that I know I personally got wrong. Finished below where I was kind of expecting them to, was definitely Michael Thorbjornsen finally came back down to earth in a hard way this past week. Brian Campbell also, he's not someone that I've been on recently, but he felt like a kind of a dart throw, dark horse this past week, but he was down towards the bottom too. Daniel Berger as well.
Berger murdered
crapped his pants. I had him in a lot of DFS.
He was in every lineup. And I mean, literally, he was the difference between me cashing, and because I think I did 5 lineups last week, cashed in 1, and all the other ones I had really solid lineups. But when you have the guy that's dead freaking last, it's hard to make up for that. So I still love you, Berger. He's got a ton of game and stuff.
Still been playing good.
He killed me, and I mean, it's just so funny how many times that happens, where you can be so on about a tournament. But then the one guy, because I usually try to be pretty consistent in my lineups, is something the great Dave Eddy at Fantasy Six Pack has taught me, is like, don't spread out your lineups. That's not the right method. Like even in single entries, You need to try to have really good weeks. It's okay to have a lot of weeks that you lose. You just want to make sure you take advantage of the weeks that you're right. And the way you do that is a smaller player pool where you'll have, say, 3-4 guys that you're just going to put them basically in every lineup. And then you know, sprinkle in like the other 2 or 3. Yeah, you change a little bit up.
Yep.
And of course, Berger, literally the only player I had every lineup this week. And I really think he finished dead last in the event. So
you might be right. Keith. Yeah, you might be right there. The guy that did that to me more so that I was too overexposed on in my core was Denny McCarthy. I think he finished 58th or something like that. Like, yeah, so that one wasn't pretty.
Not a good thing for Denny. And no, not very many people predicting that it was gonna. It was so weird too because it was like
I didn't expect it to be as low as it was.
Conditions ever. The first 3 rounds, and then the 4th round, it was like they were in the movie Twister. So that was kind of interesting, but. McCarthy he's one of those guys, his game is just not made for scoring fest. He's great when it's really difficult. And, because again, he's so good on and around the greens. He rarely makes bogeys and stuff. But if you weren't making birdies last week and Eagles, Scheffler had 3 in his final round, you were getting lapped.
Yeah, it's true. And so those are the guys that I felt like we got wrong. I will say Denny McCarthy was the only guy in my core that sucked, though. The rest of my core
your plays were good last week.
My core actually smashed last week. So I felt good about Ricky Fowler, Tommy Fleetwood, Sammy Valimaki. I know Henley was I guess you can call Henley slightly disappointing because a lot of people were picking him to win last week. And he didn't, obviously.
He's another guy, though, that if it turns into a scoring fest, that's not his ammo either.
Right.
Like, he's just a really good golfer who doesn't make mistakes and is just solid. He doesn't have like that 5th gear that, and that's what again, Scotty Scheffler showed on Sunday that it's like, Rory again is the king of this. It's like, oh crap. If I want to actually have a chance to win this, I'm going to have to go at every flag. And those guys can really do something when they do. Henley, McCarthy, they just don't have that game. And that's what's great about golf, though, is that's the kind of golfer I was. I've won, like 4 club championships at my club. I'm not saying I'm like this incredible stick or whatever, but that's my game. As I always tell people, I just want to be around par after the 36 holes and see what's happened. And, 3 of the 4 years, even has won the tournament that I've won it. And I feel like that's what's so great about on the Pro Tour, too, is depending on what goes on in the tournament, the best golfer in the field does not win, obviously, every week. It's just so rare to other sports where typically the best team always ends up, winning or one of the best teams. And in golf, it's just there's so many factors, and it's one of the many reasons I love the sport so much.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So overall, we had a fairly good week at the AT&T. We hope to keep that going this week with the Invitational, the Genesis Invitational coming up at Riviera. The famed return back to Riviera after we had Torrey Pines last year because of the unfortunate wildfires.
But, that was nuts.
It was. But let's get into some course breakdown for this week. We'll get into that because with this, like I said, at Riviera we have one of the famed courses. It is a signature event this week, but not quite the same as the AT&T this past week. It was a no.
Can you explain that to me? Why was there no cut last week, but there is a cut this week? They're both signature events. I can't figure what the hell they're doing here.
Yeah, I honestly don't know the reason, but I know there's 3 signature events that do still have a cut, this being one of them. And it's a small cut. It's 50 players and ties. Oh, but here's the caveat here. It's 50 players and ties or
within
plus 10 strokes off the lead. So it's like
going back to the old major. Was it Augusta that used to do one of the majors? Was the only one that used to do that. Where it
I don't think it was Augusta.
50 and ties, and then within 10
I want to say it was the PGA. I feel like it was the PGA, but I could be wrong. Either way, though, there's a chance that only like a handful of guys get cut this week, basically, because the field is 72 players, cut at 50. So we'll see. It's probably not going to be a very big cut. So the defending champ, Hideki Matsuyama, but once again, last year at Torrey Pines, this year back at Riviera. Different.
Ludwig actually won last year. At
that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Hideki
you're
was
right
the
about
last one
Hideki. He is the defending champ for
at
this
Riviera.
venue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I knew I was going to mess that up, and I told myself that earlier. Yeah, Ludwig won last year at Torrey Pines. But when it comes to Riviera, it's a par 71. It is 7,300 yards, almost 74. So it is considered a long course. And we get those POA greens, which are a bit inconsistent with the path that your ball takes on them. They're fast. And they want them to play
so
firm and
bumpy.
fast. Yeah, but that's the thing. The bumpiness is like you don't always get the same the same line.
As the day goes on, too, I hate Moana greens. They're so maddening. Because you just seriously it's one of the, because with HD and everything, you can see it on TV.
Right.
These guys putt better than anybody in the world. So you see their ball normally, right? Like it's just end over end over end, to where if you go watch us, it's bouncing all over the freaking place.
Sure.
On these greens, their ball is bouncing all over the place. And it's why this is a venue, one of the toughest on tour to make putts from 15 feet and within. No surprise, 4 of the 5 hardest golf courses to make putts within 15 feet are all Poana greens. So
yeah, that's not a shocker there.
Yeah. So again, it's just they have to do it for the weather and stuff out there. It's too cool for Bermuda greens. It's too warm for most of the time for bent, and you get Poana.
Yeah, so it does make sense. They are large greens too. What is a somewhat of a saving grace here that makes it accessible for the players is that the rough is not really an issue. It's a shorter rough, 2 inches, I believe, is what the rough is going to be grown at.
It's that tricky. What is it? Kakua or whatever.
Kakuya, I think. Yeah, but so yeah, the ball definitely flies out of it. Interesting sometimes, a lot of jumpers, but the issue here isn't necessarily you can scramble out of the rough here. Like that's not necessarily the problem with Riviera. What I've learned within the past is that, and why off the tee is going to be one of my stats this week, even though rough's not the issue, it's the angles. If you misplace if you set your second shot up wrong on this course, that's where it's going to bite you. You're not going to have a look at the hole. You're not going to be able to get up in the green in regulation. And it's not so much about hitting the fairway. It's about putting your drive in the spot that makes sense strategically. So I believe the first couple holes, like holes 1 through 4, are fairly gettable. They're not the ones
the easiest hole on tour. I mean, it is a low layup. Like it's a 500-yard par 5 for these guys downhill.
And that's how they're starting.
I love it. This is such a cool course though, because you have that.
It is.
You have a par 3 that's 200 freaking yards with a 2-tier green, and oh, by the way, a bunker right in the middle of it. And then now you have, what is it? I think it's the 15th hole, thanks to guys like Victor Hovland, these freaking maniacs. And now they're just pounding it down the 17th fairway because it's a tight dog leg right. And they're just like, screw it, I'm just going to hit it over in the other fairway.
That's right, yeah. And you mentioned the bunkers. Like, there's not a ton of bunkers on this course, but the ones that are on the course are tough. They're between their depth.
Have you ever seen anything like that? Where it's it's literally, like, I'm not kidding people. Like, you can bring it up on Google or whatever. The bunker is in the middle of the green. The green goes around the bunker. It is wild.
It's a very unique setup there. So there's a lot of unique parts about this course, which makes it interesting to watch if you enjoy the game like us, because it's, like I said, it's set up to be strategic. You can't just bomb away and fly it in. You got to place your ball correctly. You got to hit good shots. You got to hit different shots. That's what's fun for Riviera to watch for me. So I like that. So that's why when it came to my key stat, I already said off the tees one, once again, not exactly driving accuracy, but really about what your next shot looks like. Strokes gained approach, because once again, like you said, the putting is tough here, so you want to get as close as possible. Fairway proximity approach is 175 and higher, because with the guys playing more strategic, it is a long course. Even if they're hitting driver, they're going to be left with some long approach shots around the green as well for those missed greens. And then strokes gained total seems to just that's more of a just kind of stat history stat. Strokes gained total just seems to be very relevant with winners in the past and top 10. So strokes game total in general is something that I was also tracking with my model this week. Do you have any other stats that you're tracking there, or do you agree with those, or would
just leave any out? Really, again, I think that you're on to something with the drives. I'm using this week good drives gain, like the percentage. I think that's most important. This is a less than driver venue for a lot
It
of these
is.
guys, because
Mhm.
it's one of those that the closer you get to the green, the tighter the fairways get. So
Correct.
it's actually better hitting back 75% of your approaches are going to come from 150 or further, and
Right.
50% of those are going to come from 150 to 200 yards. So
Right.
like I'm hammering guys, hello Siwoo Kim, who
Right.
excel. And that's what's great. Again, the PGA Tour has done such a great job with offering so much of their stats and stuff for free. You can go on PGA Tour
Mhm.
and just search the player's name, go under stats. It literally tells you where they rank amongst
Yep.
everybody on tour from all these different yardages and stuff. But for me, I really looked at the guys that excel from 150 to 200. And then again, I think you're really onto something with the scrambling. Like this is a
Mhm.
venue, guys are going to miss a lot of greens and they're going to miss a lot of fairways. Like that's just the way
Right.
it is. Well, what happens when you miss fairways and greens? You got to scramble your ass off or you're not
Mhm.
going to play well. And you look at it, the cut, even with it, being an elevated signature event every year over par, makes it to
Yeah.
the weekend. This is a very difficult course. I think
Yeah. We're
like
not going to be seeing
outside of the
21 under again
major,
this week.
no, you would definitely not hear. I think that really, maybe with the exception of Jack's Place, and if the conditions are tough at Bay Hill, they're the only two venues that I think can compare with this one in the sense of just a true test. To your point, where and ironically, the two greatest players in the history of the game, neither one of them ever won here. And they both
Right.
played it a lot, which is very wild. Like, I think you can actually look venues at Tiger and Jack. I think it's like if they played it at least 10 times, one
Mhm.
of them has won that venue,
Yeah.
a tournament there. Neither one of them ever won here.
Mhm.
But you look at the names that have, it's just a who's who of some of the greatest players ever.
It is. So that's yeah, you nailed yours as well in there. And I think for the most part we are thinking, looking at our core players here, we are thinking roughly the same. I know we both do have Siwoo Kim in
Oh,
our
yeah.
core this week, which he's playing amazing right now. And then when you pair that with this just setting up for him perfectly, this type of course, it's hard to
He
stay away
follows the
from.
script from last week, right? You just said it with
Exactly.
Morikawa, where he did not actually putt that great, but he just ball struck it so well. It
Yeah.
didn't matter. And this is the kind of venue Siwoo can do the exact same. And I keep saying this,
Mhm.
he can't have bad putting weeks every week. Like if he
No.
continues to hit it this solid, we all know this. You all have the buddy that's a really, good ball striker and they just can't putt. But man, the day that cup gets a little bit bigger, they go low. And I
Yeah.
keep waiting that for Siwoo because he is just putting on a clinic right now with his ball striking. You look at like every metric across the board, tee to green, ball striking, approach, even off the tee, accuracy. Like Siwoo has turned into one of the best, just pure stripers of the golf ball on the planet.
Well, and it's also not even, it doesn't even necessarily have to be that his putting turns on. This is one of those weeks where everyone else's putting could turn
Yep.
off.
Yep.
And all of a sudden his ball striking is just a massive advantage if he's one of the few that can actually put it within 5 feet on a lot of these holes. So that's why Siwoo Kim is in my core. I think it just sets up for him. Another guy I have in my core, which I'm following the horse for the course kind of thinking here, is
Homa.
Max Homa. Exactly. Max Homa's in my core. And this is, you look back at his, so obviously, once again, not last year because it was Torrey Pines, but in 2024, T16, 23, he was second, 2022, 10th. He won it in 21. He was fifth in 20. So like
California kid, man.
Yeah,
he loves these California courses.
Right, and we even last or 2 years ago when he was in a little bit of a rough patch, we had said like this is the
Came
type
out
of
of
course
nowhere.
that gets him back on track. It's somewhat worked for a little bit, but I still think that I still think Homa is that type of guy this week.
He's comfortable on Poa Green. This is what he puts the
Right.
best on, and he's a
Exactly.
great
And he
driver of the golf ball still. Which again, we talked about. That's going to be a huge factor this week.
Yeah, and he I want to double check. He looked where is it? He looked fairly decent. Oh no, sorry. He finished T66 in the end at the Waste Management. He was looking okay there, honestly, but before being cut at the Farmers Insurance, he did finish T27 at the MX.
Why I don't understand why he didn't play in Pebble either, because he
right.
stride. I mean, if you look at, I think read somewhere it's like almost 50% of his career earnings on the PGA Tour have been in the state of California.
Yeah,
and it's like 75% of his wins. So I'm always shocked when
he might have just been setting up for this week.
Maybe.
Yeah. He might have just been setting himself up for this week, which is a good reason to be on him if that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys who were just playing too good to ignore right now. We were on Tommy Fleetwood last week. I'm going to be on him again this week. If there's a guy that I'm going to pay above 10 grand for on DK this week, it's him. So he's just looking good. He's loving that no sponsorship swag. He's owning that. I think he feels free. So we'll ride that wave a little bit more. And then Akshay Bhatia is just playing amazing golf right now. Another guy who has success in California.
Can we get into his putter while we're here? What are your thoughts?
Like I was gonna bring it up, but then I was like, you know what, the story didn't end up being as big as I thought it could become. Like someone on social media basically called him out for cheating, that he was anchoring his putter on Sunday.
He is, and everybody does, and it's why it's a stupid rule, because it says you can't like know for sure if he's anchoring it to his body. But of course, anybody who is
because he's like
you are like
he's got the, because the thing is, yes, the club itself is not touching probably his chest, but his fist sure is, and his fist is right there at the top of the shaft. So like, what's the difference? It's pretty much the same.
It's a stupid rule.
So yes, I agree. So that's why that was another reason why I was like,
So I was just curious what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. But Akshay has been playing fantastic golf right now. And he's another guy that his history here at Riviera. Let me remind myself, he actually hasn't played here before. That's right. He was the one guy who hasn't played here before, but his
great long iron player. If the wind picks up, we know he's a great player in windy conditions. And
he's coming
this is a venue like him and Cootie were the two guys that have never played this venue that I would be very surprised if they don't enjoy this venue.
Right, and he coming off a T6 and a T3, 2 straight top 10s. You got to love that. And then the last guy in my core is Jake Knapp, someone who's flying up the leaderboard.
Another California kid. I see what you're doing here.
The California golf is one of those. It's just one of those waves that it's why it's called it's part of why it's called the West Coast swing, because there are just guys who beginning of the year on that California swing, like they're relevant, and then they fade off when we start hitting the Texas.
It's like the Texas guys. There's also guys that are from Texas that they thrive on all those courses.
Right.
So but no, you're right. I mean, and this is again a venue that I think we said this last week when talking about him. I did not know until I really started following him. He is so good on and around the greens. And the thing everybody knows is obviously hits the ball 400 miles. So that's what everybody's paying attention to. But you look, the dude can roll the rock, man.
He can. And he grew up not far from Riviera. So yes, he's not played it on the PGA Tour. We have
he's played it.
But he's 100% played the course. And let me just quickly run through his year so far, because in January and February so far, T11 at the Sony, T5 at the Farmers, 8th at Waste Management, and T8 last week at Pebble. Like, that's fantastic run he's on right now. He's feeling it, and he's close to home now this week. Are you kidding me? Jake Knapp, 8,600. I feel like if you're paying up for Tommy Fleetwood, like you're gonna probably skip over most of the 9K range, where unfortunately Siwoo Kim is. But Jake Knapp seems just like a must play for me. So that's my core. Who are some of the guys other than Siwoo that you have in your core? Because I know you got a few others.
So Morikawa again. Everything from last week. The only concern I have is coming off a win, and again he's not a very good putter and has not been great around the greens, but if he hits it like he has been, he's going to be in contention. Hideki obviously won here last time they hosted it at this venue. And then Harris English, go Dogs. A guy, again, who is just great track record here, ball striker. He is one of those cheat codes that when you're playing a major or any difficult venue and you're trying to save money, just throw Harris English in there. He always thrives on difficult golf. Kind of what I was talking about with Russell Henley, like one of those guys that he doesn't have that gear where he's going to go out and shoot 25 under on any venue. But when that number is going to be closer to par, and say the winning score is like 10 under or less, he'll be right there. I do think, though, that it's, as I keep saying, if Scheffler's going to keep doing what he's been doing, and we're now at 18 events that he has not finished worse than 8th, you have to find ways to build Scheffler lineups, especially in cash games. So this week I've got Scheffler, and I think there's actually a really good, possibility. There's a ton of guys, 7,500 and cheaper, but I'm going with Robert McIntyre as the second guy. He's another guy that he's never played here, but everything about this course screams Robert McIntyre. He plays difficult courses very well. He's an elite iron player from 150, 200. Nobody just about on the planet is better scrambling than he is. So, I love him here. Pearson Coody, I was talking about it. Again, this is John. I think it's Houseborough is how you say his name, PGA touts. He's the best. He always does in his articles, the players that are top 10 in this main category in the field, top 10 in this main category. Coody was just bam, bam, bam. He's an approach, scrambling at difficult venues, putting on Poana greens, good drives gained. So, I just think similar to Beate, he's going to play very well. And then I'm going back to Rio, man. Rio is just on a heater. He's actually putting, for him, pretty good, because normally he just gives up a ton of strokes on the green. He's been close to being even with the field, which if he's going to do that, he's going to be just fine. And the other two guys, hello, Tony Finau. It's good to have
I'm
you
glad
back,
you mentioned
buddy.
him.
Got
I almost put him in my core.
Record at this venue, man. He's got 2 runner-up finishes here.
Yep.
I believe overall he's got 5 top 20s. This is a course that, is tailor-made to his game. And if you watched, like I know you did, last week, starting to look a little bit more like the Tony Finau we all know and love. And then Tom Hoge at 6,300 is stealing people. He is in my cash core and my article, meaning these, again, are the guys that basically I'm putting them in and then figuring everything out. He's 6,300. You can basically, everything I said about Harris English, same thing with him. He is somebody that really excels on difficult courses, really excels at courses that are, ball striking is the key. And at 6,300, man, it's like stealing. He did it last week. He'll do it again this week. He is another guy that plays very well on this West Coast. And at 6,300, man, I like him to top 10. I like him to top 20. You're getting great odds on both of those. And again, at 6,300, he's just, to me, especially if you're going to put Scheffler in, that is one of the easiest ways to offset. That's 20,600 for Scheffler and Hoge. And now you're looking at it like you have 2 $10,000 guys in your lineup instead of a $14,000 and a $6,000. And I'm serious. I feel almost as confident as Hoge as I do any of the guys in the 10K range of at least making the cut and finishing top 20. Because again, this is a venue. There's going to be some big names that miss the cut. I promise you. There always is.
Right. A couple other guys just that I'm going to sprinkle into my pool as kind of long dart, not long darts, but long darts.
I love long darts. It's one of my favorite.
Long shots, or just guys to kind of keep your eye on this week. Aaron Rye is someone to keep an eye on.
Excellent from 150 to 200. To your point.
Jason Day is another guy who likes the California
place finishes at this event.
Yeah,
not by that I mean in 2024-23 last 2 times.
Right, yeah. And then Sepp Straka, someone who maybe is starting to find his his groove for the season so far. We'll see if he can keep that going. So just a couple guys that I'm going to sprinkle. Like I said, I have I think my total player pool outside of my core, I probably have another maybe 10 guys outside of my core that I'm just going to.
How many lineups? I've never even talked to you about this. How many you do each week?
I usually do anywhere between 15 to 20.
Oh wow!
But I play 10 cents or 25 cent match because I like the thrill of how many guys can I get right. I'm not
just curious because
I'm not doing it to make money or if I
do 3 to 5 lineups each week, depending how the season has gone and also how my finances are at that moment in time. I do nothing but single entries. That's it. Straight up single entry
that
cash
used to be what I
lineups.
did.
And
That
I
used to be what
try
did,
to
yeah.
do my bread and butter, the 12, 33, 50. And when I'm having a good year, like I did 2 years ago, I'll do a good bit of the $100 single entries as well.
Sure.
But those things, man, they can hurt. Like I had a stretch last year where I had a very, very good 2024. I got cocky. And next thing you know, you lose like $1,200. You know what I'm saying? In a month.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, damn.
And you're going, man, that was dumb. So,
revisionist
gamble
history, I think is what
responsibly,
it's
people.
called. Yeah, so I hear you. I mean, I've not quite lost that much, but but I understand.
Hey, man.
Like you get sucked in,
Shoot.
you can happen. Well, look, I think that's gonna do it for us. I think we're set up for Riviera. It's gonna be an exciting week of golf. We're really entering kind of a fun turn into the season here, and it's gonna be a fun roller coaster ride as we continue.
Players, Augusta, I can smell the azaleas,
and I can't wait. So yeah, that'll do it for us tonight. Catch us every Tuesday here, 8:00 on That Sports Podcast Network, and then on all of your podcast listening platforms on Wednesday mornings. Shout out Golfer Gang Network for setting that up with us. But I'm Andrew LeDuc. This is Keith Fleming, and we will see you next week with maybe a new intro to include Keith in.